This is the second heaviest Burmese python ever caught in Florida.
That's huge. It took 5 men to get this massive reptile under control.
Because the size wasn't anything we comprehended with a python. It looked more like an alligator. What a 17-foot python is. Her head was the size of a football.
This giant snake right here, hiding in her home for weeks. The boa constrictor weighed in at 40 pounds. And 10 News reporter Riel Creighton spoke to the woman.
I started shaking and I was like, oh my God, what do I do with my kids? Please, God, help me.
Ever had an uninvited guest? How about one with tusks?
Oh, no.
Claws?
Can drag a kid into the water, and this to me was bigger than an alligator.
Or scales? From the bustling streets of India to the glamorous hills of Hollywood, wild animals are making surprise appearances in the most unexpected places.
You guys,
In Vietnam, a girl spotted a snake in the front yard of her house, but it turned out to be something surprising. She called a snake hunter to take charge. The snake was hiding under a polythene shade net. When he picked it up, everyone was shocked to see it was a king cobra. The hunter attempted to grab it by the tail, and after several tries, he finally succeeded. As he held it vertically, the snake began to release venom as if it was ready to strike. The man then used his hook and placed that snake in a net bag. It continued to try and bite him, but he skillfully secured it safely. Sneaky reptile.
A snake literally jumped in my...
A woman in Fresno heard a scratching noise near her door, and when she opened it, a rattlesnake dropped through the doorway. She calmed herself and cleverly placed a broom near the snake so it wouldn't move towards her. She managed to create a way for the snake to leave. After that snake left, she immediately called emergency services, who captured the snake and relocated it. Terrorizing lizard.
I screamed. I've never seen anything like it before. And it was right in the backyard, like inches away.
In Florida, a family witnessed a giant monster in their backyard. The lady noticed movement from her window, and when she investigated, she screamed upon seeing a huge reptile. This was the third time the monster lizard had visited their backyard. The reptile had sharp claws and a long, slithering tongue, weighing up to 150 pounds. The family realized that they needed to take immediate action and called the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission right away. When the crew arrived, they worked carefully to trap the large reptile.
You know, an alligator can drag a kid into the water, and this to me was bigger than an alligator. So I don't know what this could do, and honestly, it's scary.
Surprise visit. A woman was working in the kitchen of her house when she heard a buzzing sound. She opened the cabinet and screamed. A huge rattlesnake was hiding in the corner. She didn't disturb it and called a snake handler, as it would be deadly if she tried to handle the snake herself. The snake handler picked up the snake using his stick and placed it in a bucket. Thankfully, the snake didn't try to bite. He immediately closed the lid tight to avoid any mistake that could let the snake out of the bucket. Unwanted guest.
There's a snake in the house! My snake is outside, he's not in the house.
In Butler, Pennsylvania, something scary happened during a playdate. While the mothers were busy with their little ones in the living area, a girl playing on the sofa saw a snake in the dining room and informed her mother. The mother immediately got alerted and left the place with the toddlers. The snake was 4 feet long, with a very dark gray and shiny appearance. Luckily, the husband was at home too and grabbed the snake using a stick. You know what? It was an eastern rat snake.
Who was screaming?
Oh, that was me.
Knocking at door. A family was enjoying their backyard when they noticed an uninvited guest. They heard a knock on the door and were shocked to see a giant lizard knocking at their front door. That lizard was standing tall and swinging its tail. A family member tried hard to get the lizard out of the house. The sister said that if you give it a coin, it would go away because in Thailand, it is believed that such creatures bring good luck, and giving a coin means giving the fortune. Eventually, the young man was able to drag the huge lizard off the property using a rope and a stick. Kitchen chaos. In Phnom Penh, Cambodia, an uninvited guest created chaos in the kitchen. While cooking, the lady saw a snake's tail behind her air conditioner. She ran outside to call the neighbors for help. The neighbor used a stick to disturb the hidden snake. It was a 6-foot-long serpent that dropped down and darted through the pots and pans, chasing a rat. Finally, the daring neighbor grabbed the snake with his bare hands and released it into the woods. Longest Burmese python.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Let's go! Dude.
In Florida, rumors spread that people saw a python in the neighborhood. A 22-year-old decided to go on a hunt with his 3 friends. He saw the python in the grass on the footpath. The creature tried to strike him, and he grabbed the snake by its neck. The guy started wrestling with the 19-foot-long Burmese python. Things got worse when the reptile coiled itself around him. His friends, witnessing all of this, taped the snake's mouth. It was the largest Burmese python ever seen in Florida, and the friends handed it to the local forest officer.
Sit on it. Sorry. Sit on it.
Toilet snake. In Thailand, a housewife got scared by what she saw in the toilet. While she was putting the seat lid back, she noticed a python coming out of the pipe. She immediately called emergency services. One of the officers caught the snake by its neck, but it was stuck in the U-bend because of its thick stomach. So they decided to smash the seat. They took it out and placed it in a cloth bag and moved it to a safe location. Another similar incident happened when a family saw a snake coming out of their toilet. It was also a python, but much smaller in size. The officers were called to that location, and they ripped out the toilet to catch the snake, but found nothing. They started searching for it in the pipelines, and after quite a while, finally grabbed it. Gigantic house guest.
Oh, no, 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 no.
From the wilds of Assam, an elephant tried to enter a house. Women from the neighborhood started filming this. The house's shed was lower than the elephant, and its struggle to fit underneath succeeded. Later, locals used a jeep to safely guide the elephant out of the house. The elephant left the house and thankfully returned to its natural habitat. Another similar incident happened when an elephant tried to enter the living room of a house in southwest China. When it accidentally hit the cars in the front yard, it triggered their alarms, and they quickly left the place due to the noise. Leopard. CCTV footage of a medical college in Karnataka, India shocked everyone. While reviewing the video, the security officers found a leopard walking in the corridor of the doctor's quarters. The leopard seemed to stray as it moved to the stairs and then back to the corridor. The college was located near the forest, which allowed the leopard to enter it. Later, authorities set up security measures to avoid such incidents. Intrusive giant. California Highway Patrol officers got a furry surprise when an unusual intruder decided to inspect their facility. This wasn't your typical trespasser. It was a bear. The bold bear strolled right through the front door, not even stopping to check out the snacks in the vending machine. It seemed more interested in exploring rather than eating. Security cameras caught the bear's reflection in the glass as it was peeking into different rooms. After its tour, the bear casually left through the same door it came in from. 2 brave officers tried to chase after it, but the quick bear had already disappeared into the night. This eye-catching incident left the Highway Patrol with an unforgettable story about the day a bear came to work at their station. It just goes to show that in California, you never really know who or what might drop by for a visit. Cobra's Den. In Uttar Pradesh, India, a family living in an old house found holes in the walls of their rooms. As they flashed a torch, they saw two spectacled cobras in the holes. Frightened, they quickly called the local snake handler for help. When the snake handler arrived with his team, they used a pickaxe to break the wall. As the mud fell, he grabbed the snake by its tail while it was trying to enter from the other side of the den. He worked hard to safely catch each snake and remove them from the house. After the cobras were taken away, the family felt much safer. The handler released the snakes back into the wild. Worst nightmare.
Amber Hall says she discovered a massive snake infestation inside the walls of her new Centennial home. When her dog first found one slithering in the garage, well, then they found 9 more over the next week, but that was just the beginning.
In Centennial, Colorado, a first-time home buyer found something odd in her house. While getting the car out, she discovered a snake slithering in the garage. Later, the family found even more snakes inside the walls over the next week. There were so many that the lady hired a snake wrangler to help. That wrangler found that the snakes had been living underground for at least 2 years. The family couldn't sleep well because they were worried snakes might come out. Finally, after the wrangler took control and shifted them to a natural habitat, the family felt safe again in their home.
My kids and I are afraid to sleep in our beds, afraid to use the restroom because snakes might come out of the toilet.
Snake encounter.
Touched and dealt with enough snakes by then that the water tasted just like the snakes taste.
In Idaho, a couple bought their dream house, which soon turned into a nightmare. They found a snake in the backyard. It was an 18-inch black garter snake. At first, they thought it was a one-off encounter. However, as days passed, the sightings increased. Despite their efforts to coexist, the situation became unbearable, and they eventually decided to leave the house, and it was sealed once again. The authorities responded to the situation and launched a thorough operation to safely remove the snakes from the property. Each snake was captured and relocated to a suitable habitat far from residential areas. Finally, the house was snake-free and put back on the market after renovation.
The previous owners that had walked away from that house, they had sealed up pretty good, but after we found that in the house, I went around and tried to seal all I could.
Snake habitat.
And these are pretty much snake gloves, so the rattlesnakes can't bite through them, because at this point, it's dangerous.
In Sonoma, a woman found a snake in her mountain house and quickly called a reptile rescue officer to come and safely take it away. When he arrived, he was shocked to discover something extraordinary. There were almost 100 rattlesnakes living under the house. The officer explained that these snakes had moved in recently. It was lucky that no one had been hurt. Afterward, people took steps to protect the snakes' homes in the hills to ensure the safety of both the snakes and those homeowners.
Give me 300. I mean, as long as I got enough containers to put them in and come back enough, I'll do it all day long.
Tiger visit. CCTV footage of a store surprised everyone. The cashier was standing at the counter when he noticed a tiger casually walking into the store with a yellow bag in its mouth. When it passed by him, he hid himself under the table. Chaos was created when the customers witnessed the tiger and rushed to the exit. After roaming in the store for a while, the tiger left it without harming anyone. The cashier immediately called the police and shared the incident. Later, the police and wildlife team caught the tiger from the shopping store and relocated it. Thief bear. At Lake Tahoe, California, a mischievous thief continued to steal from a gas station for 3 consecutive days. It all started when a bear entered the candy shop at the gas station. The manager tried to stop the bear from entering, but it persisted. On the first day, it grabbed a whole bag of chocolate bars and left. But on the second day, it stayed there and ate until it was full. The police eventually relocated the bear to a far-away area. Another similar incident happened in Lake Cowichan, Canada, where a bear entered a store, stole a pack of gummy bears, and left towards the forest. That one never visited the store ever again. crashing deer. A deer crashes into a house in Texas. The homeowner and his wife were sitting in the living area when a deer jumped through the glass door and entered their house. The couple was shocked, and that deer seemed pretty confused. After finding itself in a human habitat, the deer tried to leave the house. Sadly, it got injured while breaking the door. It moved closer to the door but slipped on the floor and sat there. The couple provided first aid and took it to the nearby forest. Coyote night venture. This strange incident showcases the evidence of animals becoming bolder around people with the expansion of humans into wildlife. In a surprising incident in Woodland Hills, a sneaky coyote managed to slip into a family's house. Surveillance footage captured the coyote trying to enter the dining area, but it was confronted by a brave house cat and it left the place. The family discovered this incredible encounter while reviewing their home footage. Officials have advised the neighborhood to stop leaving food outside of their homes, as such encounters often occur in the search for food. Stinky situation. In a town in Oklahoma, there was a lady who was once an animal lover, but now her kindness has brought her unexpected challenges. One day, while she was outside, a skunk crossed her driveway and went over to a neighbor's porch to eat the cat food left out for stray cats. That skunk ended up spraying her dogs. She approached the city council to set traps because she was afraid to sit on her front porch or even go to her car. She requested the neighborhood to stop putting food out for strays. Later, the city council decided to capture them through traps and relocate them to safer habitats. Alligator's surprise visit.
Now, with that backyard scare, an alligator spotted trying to climb a fence.
In Carolina, a family enjoying their meal noticed something moving in their yard. Upon a closer look, they found a giant alligator on the hunt. It was moving towards the main door. The family locked their house and called the Wildlife Rescue Service. Officers struggled to capture the heavy reptile, but eventually did manage to secure it. The alligator was safely relocated to a nearby lake within a national park. Plumbing's surprise find. A plumber was doing his duty when he saw something moving under the rubble. As he checked, he found a gray rat snake over 6 feet long. Startled, the snake bit the man. Thankfully, these snakes are harmless, though their bite can hurt and will probably draw blood. The snake was likely there to eat a lizard. Despite the bite, the man carefully picked up the snake and decided to relocate it. He took that snake to a nearby forest where it could live peacefully away from human habitation and returned to work. Walled python. In Bangkok, Thailand, a family was watching TV when they noticed a hiss coming from inside the living room wall. They immediately called the rescue service. Upon searching, they discovered a 15-foot-long python crawling. It was yellow with black patterns on its body. The rescue team captured the snake using a long, curved hook and sent it to the right place. A man's quiet day turned into a hysterical adventure when he discovered some scaly squatters in his bathroom. Hidden behind the wall tiles, 4 rattlesnakes had made themselves at home. Instead of panicking, the homeowner called in a professional snake charmer, a lady with nerves of steel and a talent for reptile relocation. Armed with tools and courage, they carefully cut through the bathroom tiles. It was kind of like opening a very dangerous Christmas present. One by one, the sneaky serpents were coaxed out of their hiding spot. The brave snake handler showed off her skills, safely capturing all 4 rattlesnakes without a single shake of their famous tails.
Come here, little buddy. I did find the same backyard nest I released that other one in, so they are together.
Massive gator bed. The storm in Texas prompted animals to leave their natural habitats. Alligators emerged from their homes seeking higher ground, and some even ventured into people's homes. When a massive gator named Big Tex attempted to invade a house,
the priority was to get those crocodiles caught inside. I think we got one coming up right here.
The homeowner took action to ensure its safety in the severe weather conditions.
This Big Al, folks. We're gonna get him, put him in our trailer, We're gonna take him out of here to a safe location.
He enlisted the help of friends and sheltered it inside a trailer. Once the weather improved, the man relocated the alligator to a nearby lake. Godzilla lizard. In Pitsanulok, Thailand, a caretaker witnessed a terrifying moment. While cleaning, she entered a room and spotted a 1-meter-long Godzilla monitor lizard searching for food. The reptile was taking quick little steps across the tiled floor. She tried to scare it away, but it kept finding a space to hide under the bed and went to the other room. After trying for 10 minutes, she called the medic staff, who were able to drive the reptile out of the room. Frogs invasion. In northern Australia, a house lady made a surprising discovery while checking her backyard outhouse. She went to the outhouse to get some tools from the cabinet when she heard critters inside. She followed the noise to the bathroom. As she lifted the lid, she found frogs seeking refuge from the hot weather and searching for water. She gently scooped them up in a bucket and released them near a pond, ensuring they found a safer place to stay cool. A similar incident happened when school students found a giant frog in their toilet. The frog was trying to move and successfully jumped out of the toilet and started roaming around the place. It eventually found the school's pond and settled down there. Peacock takeover. Hundreds of peacocks attacked a town in Los Angeles. A lady was enjoying her front yard when she witnessed hundreds of peacocks suddenly appear out of nowhere and start roaming around the resident's yard. Many of these peacocks stayed in her garden. She tried to get rid of them by placing large nets and a motion sensor water gun, but nothing seemed to work. She said that the peacock noise was torturous for babies.
One of the biggest annoyances, their mating call.
Finally, she called a peacock relocator who first trapped them by bribing them with peanuts and then placed them in cages to send off to a safer environment. Garage keepers. In Alberta, a woman found unexpected tenants living in her garage for months. While repairing the garage, she discovered a 2-meter-high honeycomb. The bees had found a gap in the wall and made their way inside, replacing the insulation. She called an electrician who was experienced in handling bees. With that electrician's help, the kind lady relocated the bees from the wall to their new home. Bedroom beehive surprise. A couple got a buzzing shock when they discovered an unexpected roommate in their house. While they were investigating the strange buzzing sound, they found out they were sharing their home with almost 180,000 bees. That's like having a whole stadium of tiny flying neighbors living above their heads. Not knowing how to handle so many bees, the couple called in an expert beekeeper who used a special one-way exit device on the hive's entrance. This smart tool let the bees leave the ceiling, but stopped them from going back in. As the bees came out, the beekeeper carefully collected them and moved them to a new hive box. This way, the bees got a new home, and the couple got their bedroom back. Messy baboons.
Okay, we have a whole bunch of baboons inside this house. Check it out.
A group of friends went to a nearby hill station, and when they came back, there was chaos at their farmhouse in South Africa. They had accidentally left a top floor window open, making it easier for baboons to enter the house. The boys were outside watching the baboons' mischief through the window.
Here we have a baboon destroying a house. Yeah, it's really going off.
They decided to reclaim their house from the baboons, so they grabbed brooms to scare them away. The baboon in the bedroom was so stubborn that it wouldn't leave.
He's not afraid. And he's coming down. Come on, get out of here! Get out of here! Get out, here's the door!
It seemed they'd all come in search of food. So the only option left was to call in wildlife officers, who then successfully got those baboons out of the house. Chaotic iguanas. Residents of Miami Beach in Florida were disturbed by the natural habitat. A lady noticed the pathway near the beach full of iguanas. This was concerning, as the exponential increase in the iguana population made it difficult for people to live in the area. The locals hired a hunter to get rid of the iguanas, but it was difficult for 1 or 2 people to hunt so many of them. The city mayor decided to announce a bounty on iguanas, which was a great plan. After a few weeks, their population was under control. Elk herd.
You guys, come here.
In a small town in California surrounded by forests, something amazing happened. A family witnessed a big group of elk outside their house. These majestic animals, with their large antlers, walked around the streets and yards. The people in the town watched with wonder as the elk explored their neighborhood, eating grass and looking around with curiosity. After a while, the elk left for their forest home. On their way, the herd carefully crossed the road, which was a fascinating sight. Hanging bear.
No, I'm getting back up.
In Steamboat Springs, a bear made a surprise visit to a home. The bear wasn't just wandering, it wanted food. It snuck into the house and found itself a quick meal. But then, trouble struck when it accidentally locked itself in the bedroom upstairs. The bear tried to get out through the window, as captured on video by a neighbor. She saw the bear and called the police because the homeowners were away. And then the police arrived to help the bear out. They safely guided it out of the house, back to the wild where it belonged. Bat infestation. A man from the US visited his home after vacation, but was shocked to see his kitchen. There were over 200 bats in the sink. He noticed a group of bats near a hole and found that these bats entered his house through the hole, followed by a pipeline, and got stuck in there. The man decided to relocate them, so he used gloves and individually placed each bat in a cage. Finally, he released them a few miles away from his house. Mosquito havoc. In Poland, a family was enjoying their food in the backyard when a swarm of mosquitoes entered their house. The rain, followed by hot weather, attracted these flies to find breeding spots. The bugs were swirling around the house like clouds. The mosquitoes completely covered the ground and were flying all over the place. A family member decided to distribute nesting boxes to encourage mosquito predators like bats and swifts to settle. His plan was successful, as these predictions vanished hundreds of mosquitoes within a day. Here's another similar incident that happened where millions of tiny mosquitoes swarmed Taganrog City in Russia. They covered everything like a big blanket, making it hard to breathe or see clearly. The family used a vacuum cleaner to get rid of unexpected visitors. Birds invasion.
This fireplace is where the birds made entry into the home. They flew in by the hundreds.
In Torrance, Canada, hundreds of birds invaded a house through a chimney. The cluster of birds flew in, causing chaos and destruction. They were all over the house, from the kitchen to the living room. The birds lined the windowsill, trying to find their way out. They also attached themselves to the ceiling. It took the family 3 days to get rid of the 1,500 birds, and removing them was exhausting. But thankfully, the birds flew away and began a journey to find a new home to roost in. Prey and predator. In Karnataka, India, a man found intruders in his house. He noticed a leopard and a dog when he entered his bathroom. The dog, scared of the predator, was sneaking around a corner. Immediately, he locked the door and called forest officers. They arrived with a huge net and cage. Officers used an earth mover to peer inside from the window when the hungry leopard tried to grab the cameraman. Luckily, the window had a grill, which saved the man. The officers successfully caught the leopard and released the dog. Cockroach surprise. In Sydney, an electrician found an old telephone set on the wall. While he was working, he noticed a lifeless cockroach on the telephone. He grabbed his tool and opened it, only to be shocked by the sight of dozens of lifeless cockroaches inside. Cockroaches prefer warm, dark, and humid environments, and one must have signaled it as a safe area with available resources. The worker cleaned the telephone and continued his work, wondering what other creatures might be sneaking into this abandoned property. bathroom lizard. A British tourist encountered a strange thing in the bathroom while on holiday with his partner in Pathum Thani, Thailand. While he was in the bathroom, he heard strange sounds coming from the toilet. As he lifted the lid, he was shocked to find an enormous monitor lizard staring back at him. At first, he only saw its face, but soon the lizard climbed onto the toilet seat. The lizard disappeared on its own. It was a water monitor lizard that typically live in ponds and canals in large cities in Thailand and can be aggressive when threatened. This sighting frightened the man as it was a new experience for him. Startling lizard. The parents were sleeping in their house in Thailand when their little girl started screaming. She was busy watching TV when a big lizard passed by her father and moved into the crowded room. As the creature went to the other room in front of her, she noticed it and screamed. The girl's scream woke everyone up, and they checked the whole house. Then they called for an animal control officer. It was a scary incident, but people believed that it would bring fortune to them. Rat invasion.
Rats have practically taken over the Claremont houses in the Bronx. There are 5 of them in this kitchen. Were shot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in a home where children live.
In the Bronx, in New York City, a public housing apartment turned into a rat colony. A lady moved into an apartment with her kids and saw rats all over her kitchen. When she reported it to the neighborhood, they shared that they were also facing the same problem. Some said there were rats in the toilet, and others heard scratching noises in the walls at night. When the local news channel reported the incident, the housing authority took responsibility for handling the situation.
They did not come out and do nothing to my apartment until Montefiore Hospital doctors told them about the condition and threatened to help sue them for the condition that my son is living in.
Moths in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, one woman is more concerned about the moths. Her home came under attack by thousands of them.
A lady in Forgan, Oklahoma, woke up disturbed by a moth. But as she got out of bed, the sighting shocked her. There was a massive swarm of moths inside, and the air was thick with them outside her door, while many of them were crawling up her windows. She said they always had moths around the property, but never that many. The family called up pest control and left the house for a day to get the work done.
Many might think it's time to sell the house. No answers yet as to why the moths swarmed that house.
That is awful.
Mayflies invasion.
Oh my God, Jesus. For Jesus.
In Ohio, a lady returned home from shopping and was disturbed by what she saw. Her front door, walls, and even the doorknobs were covered with mayflies. When she went inside, she found mayflies everywhere. They had invaded her house, filling the rooms and covering the furniture. She quickly realized she needed help. She called her friends to remove the mayflies from her home. Afterward, she made sure that she doesn't let these visitors enter her house again.
Mayflies are covering me right now. It's like a storm of mayflies.
Boar's Day Out. A normal day at an Indian factory turned into a wild adventure when an unexpected visitor showed up. The entire exciting event was captured on CCTV cameras. A wild boar rushed into the audit department, causing chaos as everyone ran for their lives. After wreaking havoc in the audit department, it then made its way into the manufacturing section, forcing workers to find hiding spots. But the boar's adventure wasn't over yet. It ventured into the inventory section before finally leaving the factory. Injured moose. In Saskatoon, Canada, a wild morning unfolded when a moose crashed through a window at an elementary school.
Oh, that poor little guy. You get out of town.
As it jumped through the glass window, it got injured and wasn't able to leave the place on its own. A girl on a morning walk saw it all happen and quickly called up the police. Those police arrived and carefully guided the moose out of the school. Thankfully, no one was hurt during this unexpected visit, and the moose was safely led back into the nearby woods. Open discussion. A man was sitting on the porch of his house when he saw a python approaching. He quickly left to ensure his own safety. Upon returning, he was shocked to find that the giant python, weighing 120 kilograms, was hanging from the rafters of his porch. He called up a snake handler for help. Now, when they arrived, handling the snake was challenging, as it was tightly coiled around the rafters. The snake attempted to enter the house through the door, which they immediately closed. The handlers calmly guided it out of the house, and eventually it slithered away into the nearby bushes. But to their surprise, there were more snakes sneaking inside the bushes. They called a wildlife team, and eventually, all of them were taken away.